Have you ever caught yourself making a snap judgment about someone? Maybe it was the way they were dressed, something they said, or even just a look on their face. It happens to all of us almost automatically. We see a tiny piece of someone's story, a single frame from their life's movie, and we think we know the whole plot. But what if we're getting it all wrong? There's a powerful piece of wisdom that says, "Do not judge others, and you will not be judged." Think about that for a second. It's not just a nice idea. It's a profound truth about how human connection works. It suggests that the energy we put out into the world, especially the critical, judgmental energy, has a way of coming right back to us. The standard we use to measure others becomes the very yardstick by which we are measured. Imagine you're at a coffee shop and you see someone being short with the barista. Your immediate thought might be, "Wow, how rude." But what if that person just received some terrible news? What if they're a caregiver, exhausted from being up all night with a sick child? What if they just lost their job and are worried about how they'll pay their bills? Suddenly, that moment of perceived rudeness looks a lot more like a moment of human struggle. We don't see the full picture. We only see the speck of dust, not the storm they're walking through. This is where the famous analogy comes in. Why worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you have a log in your own? It's a bit of a dramatic image, but it makes the point perfectly. We are often so quick to spot the tiny flaws in others, the little things we think they should fix. Why does she always talk so loud? Or, he's so disorganized. These are specks. Meanwhile, we might be blind to the giant logs in our own eyes. Maybe our own log is a habit of gossiping, or a tendency to be impatient, or a deep-seated insecurity that makes us feel better by putting others down. It's so much easier to focus on someone else's speck than to deal with the heavy, awkward log we're carrying around ourselves. Think about how this plays out in our daily lives, especially online. Social media can feel like a giant courtroom where everyone is both a defendant and a judge. We scroll through curated highlight reels and pass judgment on people's vacations, their parenting choices, their political opinions, their very existence. We see a single post, a 15-second video, or a 280-character tweet, and we feel qualified to pass a verdict on their entire character. We're all pointing out specks, while our own feeds are probably not a perfect representation of our real, messy, complicated lives. The text calls this out directly. Hypocrite. First get rid of the log in your own eye. Then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. This isn't about being perfect before you can help anyone. It's about self-awareness. It's about doing the hard work of looking inward first. What does it mean to remove the log from your own eye? It means practicing self-reflection. It means asking yourself, why did that person's comment bother me so much? What insecurity of mine did it trigger? It means acknowledging your own biases, your own bad days, your own imperfections. It means forgiving yourself for not being perfect, which in turn makes it a lot easier to extend that same grace to others. When you start working on your own log, your own issues, your own shortcomings, something amazing happens. Your vision clears. You stop seeing the world through a filter of judgment and start seeing it through a lens of compassion. You realize that most people are just like you, doing the best they can with what they have. When your vision is clear, you can actually help. The final part of that wisdom is crucial. Then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. It doesn't say, then you will see well enough to point out the speck. It says to deal with it, which implies helping, healing, and supporting. Imagine that friend again who you thought was disorganized. Once you've dealt with your own log of, say, impatience, you might approach them differently. Instead of judging them, you might say, "Hey, you seem really overwhelmed lately. Is there anything I can do to help?" You're no longer a judge. You're an ally. You're not there to criticize the speck, but to gently help remove it, with kindness and understanding, because you know what it's like to struggle yourself. This shift from judgment to compassion is life-changing. It frees you from the constant, exhausting mental effort of sizing everyone up, of keeping a running tally of their faults. It opens the door to deeper, more authentic relationships. When people feel safe and not judged around you, they'll open up. You get to see the real person, not the defensive wall they put up to protect themselves from criticism. So, how can we practice this? Start small. The next time you feel that impulse to judge someone, whether it's a stranger on the street or a public figure on TV, pause. Take a breath. Remind yourself that you're only seeing a tiny speck. You don't know the whole story. Wish them well in your mind. Say, "I don't know what they're going through, but I hope they find peace." This isn't about ignoring harmful behavior or pretending everything is okay when it's not. There is a place for discernment and for holding people accountable. But that's different from passing a sentence on their soul. Accountability comes from a place of seeking justice and improvement, while harsh judgment often comes from a place of ego and superiority. Let's focus on our own logs first. Let's get our own vision clear. Let's choose empathy over criticism, curiosity over condemnation, and connection over judgment. The world doesn't need more critics. It needs more compassion. And that change starts right here with each of us. By offering grace to others, we find it for ourselves. And if you are struggling with feeling judged or are finding it hard to stop judging yourself, please know that talking to someone can make a world of difference. There are mental health professionals and support lines available to help you navigate these feelings in a safe and supportive space. You are not alone. Thanks so much for watching. If this message resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content that helps us live a more thoughtful and connected life. See you in the next one.